Hey everyone, Anthony Venuto here with InTouch Mortgage Solutions. It's Friday, Finance Fridays, and thank you again for tuning in for another episode. On this episode, I want to talk about selecting the right mortgage professional, what questions you should be asking that mortgage professional, and what are some red flags to pay attention for. So stay tuned, we're going to dive right in. Once again, we want to take this opportunity to thank all our continued supporters and viewers of the channel for taking the time out of their day to watch our videos, comment, leave messages, suggestions for future topics as we continue our financial literacy journey. Now, in this episode, talking about selecting the right mortgage professional is very vital when it comes to looking at a consumer's perspective of what they're going to expect, what they're looking for in a mortgage professional, because it is a very important aspect of saving money and time and getting the right advice. What I want to do is I just want to basically go over some of the questions that we've designed and we've looked at from many different sources that you should be talking to your mortgage professional about. Question number one, what types of mortgages do you have experience in handling? Now, this is a very important question because it's going to give you a baseline understanding of how experienced the mortgage professional that you're dealing with is. Have they worked with clients that have sub 600 credit scores, self-employed, commission? Are they working with clients that have multiple rental properties and they're looking to build a portfolio? Are you looking to work with someone who's dealt with incorporated properties, new construction closing, pre-construction closing? All these questions are very important when you're asking your mortgage professional what type of experience they have. And this is important because they, as a mortgage professional, would need to have at least several different types of products and have worked with different types of scenarios so that they can better service you as a client, because not each client comes to the table with the same scenario. There could be some differences between each client, and understanding where that broker is thinking and having a conversation about is very important. Question number two is, what lenders do you work with? Now, this is a very important question because as mortgage professionals in the industry, we have access to many different lenders. Some will say over 30 plus lenders, which is great. It's fantastic. We have versatility. However, as a mortgage professional, we understand the power in numbers, and we work with specific lenders in different buckets. So you have your A's, which are your chartered banks, and your mono banks, which are your broker-friendly A banks. Then you have your B's, which are your equity lenders, and then you have your C's, which are more along the privates and syndicated style of lending. When you have access to a few of those lenders per bucket, you're going to be getting the service. Now, what's important to understand is that there's a lot of lenders out there and a lot of lenders that do the exact same thing. Some of those lenders will have different products or different abbreviations of their products, or maybe allow certain things that other lenders don't. So understanding that a broker has access to those lenders but works with a specific amount of lenders is also important. So understanding these things and dealing with a professional that has access to multiple lenders but works with a handful of lenders in each area is going to help you benefit by getting the best rate, product, and service and advice. Question number three is, what expectations in the process can I anticipate? What is the journey going to look like? And that is an important question because we always look at our clients' situations individually. When is the best time to have a conversation? What method of contact? Do you prefer text, email, phone call? Each person is different. We here at InTouch Mortgage Solutions, we like to pick up the phone, have a conversation with our clients, as that is potentially one of the most important things. We'll text our clients, we'll email them. This is important. Expectations laid out from the beginning will make the transaction smoother for you as a consumer. Understanding that if you email a broker, how long to anticipate a response, how long will the lender's response time be once the deal is submitted, what does the pre-approval turnaround time look like, what is the duration, to get the file instructed to the lawyer, and at what timelines to get certain items completed within the transactional window is going to be evident when you're having a conversation with your broker. These are a lot of things to take in, especially because, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of Canadians are not familiar with the mortgage process, and a lot of lenders that may be experiencing higher volumes during current seasons or current markets. So we're constantly reaching out to them saying, hey, how's this file going? What's going on here? We don't want to let things set and forget. We want to basically convey that message to our clients. So understanding the expectations and the journey that you're about to take is very, very important. Question number four is, how do you get compensated? And many Canadians will ask this question to their mortgage professional. We get this question asked all the time. Asking your mortgage professional how they get compensated is not a bad question, as the answer should generally be from the lender themselves. Now, it all depends on the circumstance of which you're working. If you're working with an equity lender or private, there can be fees associated with those typical transactions, as we discussed in our video last week. But generally speaking, with most of your conventional chartered banks and mono banks, there generally could be no fee associated with that mortgage. It is basically free to you, the consumer. Now, as I said, we don't comment on other people's structure. Everybody's entitled to run their business as they choose. Finally, to end off our video for today, we're going to be talking a little bit about warning signs. Other warning signs that are basically something that you should be paying attention to as a consumer going out there and choosing the right mortgage professional are as follows. One of my biggest pet peeve, and probably point number one, is a mortgage broker that just spits out rates. And although that's generally what most people call, that's generally where the conversations go, understanding what rate the broker is spitting out will depend on the questions that they ask you. So if a broker is very easy just to spit out a rate, it can be a false sense of security because maybe your credit score isn't up to code with the lenders that the rate is being quoted. Maybe your income doesn't fit. Maybe the ratios are out of line. Understanding if it's an insured or conventional deal, understanding if it's a 25 or 30 year, if it's an insured or insurable deal. There are many components that a broker needs to understand before they spit out a rate. And I'm hoping that, as I said, as a consumer, if you're asking that rate, please be prepared to answer a few questions in order for that broker to better gauge the answer. The next thing on my list about warning signs or red flags is not something that we're going to necessarily say is a bad thing, but it depends on the consumer and the expectations, right? We're talking about expectations of what the journey will look like. And someone that maybe hasn't been in the industry for a long time, or maybe has no background in finance, and someone who has to maybe bounce ideas off their team leader or their broker, for example, that is something that may cost you time and energy, especially in this heated market. Now, everyone deserves a fair shot. I'm not saying don't use a broker that has been in the industry for not a long period of time, because that's just not right. I mean, everybody needs to start somewhere. And if they have been in the industry, maybe not for a long period of time, is ask them, say, well, how much experience does your broker have? Or who is the broker? Maybe we can sit down and have a conversation with them and run ideas by them and bring them into the conversation if it makes you feel more confident. But as I said, I don't want to discriminate against the fact that if you have a young agent or someone that's just getting into the industry, that they know less. It's just more along the lines of expectations and time frames and them not understanding maybe all the products yet because they haven't had a lot of deals under their belt. Red flag number 4 is actually something that's very important to understand when selecting your mortgage professional. And if you hear certain things, it should trigger something for you to maybe ask a few more questions. And that is basically someone who doesn't specialize in equity lending or, something along the lines with privates or conventional lending. That is something for me, as I said, as a mortgage professional, it's okay to I have a strength in residential mortgages and maybe not so much more in commercial or land development, right? Because those are more niche markets. But if you're working with a mortgage professional who only maybe works with A deals like most of your conventional banking models, or doesn't have experience with credit or bad credit or poor credit or lower incomes or B type of deals, that's something that's you need to be very careful of. And the reason behind that is not to discriminate against their competency, but it's more along the lines of that if something happens in the transaction and you need to pivot to a different lender, making sure that that actual broker or agent actually has the ability and know-how how to switch and basically give advice about your options to make sure that you're closing. Basically, to summarize our entire conversation about selecting the mortgage professional that you choose, it's very important to have a connection, have a conversation with them, and feel comfortable working with them. That is single-handedly the most important advice that I can give to any client. Are they friendly? Are they able to offer advice? Are they available? Are they willing to go the extra mile to help you out? Obviously, that is something that is preferential, and it's very important because as a broker, they need to disclose all the material risks to you. So if a broker is only presenting you with the upsides to everything and they're not discussing, maybe the downsides to certain things, that is also could potentially be a red flag. So I hope everyone found this video helpful, and I hope it gives some people a little bit more light and guidance in regards to choosing and selecting the right mortgage professional. Always, of course, if you have any questions about your mortgage or you're looking to get out there into the mortgage space, purchase real estate, refinance, restructure, build wealth through investing in real estate, always feel free to reach out to our team here at In Touch Mortgage Solutions. We'd be happy to help, and we wish everyone a great Friday and an even better weekend ahead. Thank you for tuning in.